let me tell you something that the world has been lying to you about for a long, long time. Everyone tells you to follow your passion. They tell you to chase your dreams and everything will just fall into place. That is a lie. Passion is a feeling and feelings change like the wind. If you only work when you feel passionate, you will never build anything that lasts. Listen to me carefully. The world doesn't care about your passion. The world cares about your contribution. It cares about your discipline. Most people are waiting for a lightning bolt of inspiration to strike them before they start moving. They spend years sitting on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea, or the perfect feeling. But the high achievers, the people who actually change the world, they don't wait. They understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. You have been led to believe that success is a giant leap, but it's actually a series of boring, repetitive daily steps that nobody sees and nobody applauds. You think you need more time, don't you? You tell yourself that if you just had an extra 5 hours a day, you'd finally write that book, start that business, or get in shape. But the truth is, you don't need more time. You need more focus. Most of you are leaking energy like a cracked pipe. You're giving your best hours to people who don't matter and to screens that don't love you back. 1 hour, that's all it takes to separate the 1% from the 99%. 1 hour of concentrated, uninterrupted, intentional work every single day. If you can't give 1 hour to your future, then you don't really want a future. You want a fantasy. You're in love with the idea of success, but you're terrified of the work required to get there. Stop lying to yourself. The reason you are stuck isn't because you lack talent. It's because you lack the courage to be consistent music when it's not exciting anymore. Your life is a reflection of your standards, not your wishes. This is what separates the winners from the dreamers. It's the invisible work. We see the trophy, we see the bank account, and we see the highlights, but we don't see the dark room. We don't see the early morning's music when the house is cold and your body is screaming for more sleep. Think about an iceberg. You see the tip peeking above the water, shining in the sun. That's the success people talk about. But underneath the surface, there is a massive, jagged mountain of ice that goes down for hundreds of feet. That mountain is built from thousands of hours of work that nobody cheered for. It's built from the sacrifices you made when your friends were out partying. It's built from the failures that made you want to quit, but you didn't. You have to be willing to be invisible for a long time before you ever become impactful. If you can't handle being ignored, you will never be respected. You have to fall in love with the process of becoming rather than the price of arriving. While they sleep, you grind. While they scroll, you grow. While they gossip, you build. This isn't about being better than them. It's about being better than the version of yourself that walked into the room yesterday. Most people are looking for a shortcut, a hack, or a secret formula. They want the results without the calluses. But let me tell you something. There is no such thing as a shortcut to a place worth going. The secret is that there is no secret. It's just work. It's showing up when you're tired. It's showing up when you're broke. It's showing up when you're heartbroken. Success is a lonely road because most people aren't willing to walk it. They want the crowd, the applause, and the comfort. But the growth happens in the silence. It happens in that 1 hour a day when it's just you and your craft. If you can master that 1 hour, you can master your life. But you have to protect that hour like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Preparation is the only thing you can actually control. You can't control the economy, you can't control the weather, and you can't control who gives you an opportunity. But you can control how ready you are when that opportunity finally knocks on your door. Let me tell you, there is nothing more tragic than a prepared man who never gets an opportunity, except for an opportunity that needs a man who isn't prepared. Your job right now is to become the person who is worthy of the life you want. If you want $1 million, you have to become a person who can manage and multiply $1 million. If you want a great relationship, you have to become a person who is capable of giving and receiving great love. You are currently being tested in the waiting room of life. How you behave while you wait determines how long you stay there. Are you using this time to sharpen your blade? Are you just complaining that the tree is too hard to cut? Listen to me carefully. Your future self is watching you right now through the lens of memory. Think about that. 10 years from now, you're going to look back at this exact moment. You're either going to look back with pride because you finally decided to take yourself seriously, or you're going to look back with a heavy soul-crushing weight of regret. Regret is a ghost that will haunt you for the rest of your life. It will whisper, "What if?" into your ear every time you try to sleep. You don't want that. God, you want to be able to look in the mirror and say, "I gave everything I had." You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to be the most talented. You just have to be the one who refuses to quit. You have to be the one who stays in that 1-hour block of work when everyone else has found an excuse to walk away. That is how you win, not by luck, but by outlasting the competition. Let's talk about pressure. Most people run from it. They want a life that is easy and smooth. But pressure is a privilege. Pressure is what turns coal into diamonds. If you have no pressure in your life, you have no potential for greatness. Think about the entrepreneur who worked night shifts for 5 years while building a business in the daytime. He didn't have favorable circumstances. He had a screaming child, a mounting pile of bills, and a body that was failing him. But he used that pressure as fuel. He didn't see the obstacles as reasons to stop. He saw them as the weight he needed to lift to get stronger. When you're under pressure, your true character is revealed. It's easy to be disciplined when your bank account is full and your health is perfect. But who are you when everything goes wrong? Who are you when the world turns its back on you? That is the person who determines your ultimate destiny. Consider the athlete who trains in the rain when the stands are empty. Nobody is there to take a picture of him. Nobody is there to write a story about his dedication. He's out there because he knows that the game is won months before the first whistle blows. He knows that his patterns under pressure are formed in the quiet moments of his daily routine. If you cut corners in the dark, you will be exposed in the light. You cannot fake a foundation. You cannot build a skyscraper on a swamp. Your daily hour of focused work is the foundation. It's the deep work that ensures when the storms of life come, and they will come, you will remain standing while everyone else is being washed away. Stop looking for the easy way out and start looking for the hard way through. The hard way is the only way that builds a man worth being. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, not your parents, not your boss, and certainly not luck. If you want a better life, you have to build it with your own 2 hands. We live in a world that wants to make you a victim. It wants you to believe that your success is dependent on things outside of your control. Why? Because victims are easy to control. Victims don't take risks. Victims don't change the world. They just sit and wait for someone to hand them a life. But you are not a victim. You are a creator. You have the power to take 1 hour of your day and use it to transform your reality. But you have to be willing to take full responsibility for where you are right now. Even if it's not your fault, it is your responsibility. The moment you stop blaming others is the moment you start reclaiming your power. Look at your attention. It's the most valuable currency you have. Corporations are spending billions of dollars every year just to steal 5 seconds of your focus. They want you distracted. They want you scrolling. They want you comparing your life to a curated lie on a screen. Why? Because a distracted man is a weak man. A man who cannot control his own mind, cannot control his own life. You have to build a focus fortress around that 1 hour of your day. Shut the door. Turn off the notifications. Leave the phone in another room. This is your sacred time. This is the time when you communicate with your potential. If you allow distractions to enter that space, you are telling the universe that your dreams are actually important to you. Protect your focus like you would protect your family. It is the only thing that can bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. There are energy vampires all around you. Some of them are people you've known for years. They are the ones who tell you to be realistic. They are the ones who laugh at your ambitions because your growth makes them feel insecure about their own stagnation. You have to be careful who you let into your inner circle. You cannot fly with eagles if you are hanging out with turkeys. If you spend your time with people who have no vision, you will eventually lose your own. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be willing to be the boring one who doesn't go out on Friday nights because he has a date with his future on Saturday morning. It's a lonely process, but the view from the top is only for those who are willing to climb alone. Don't let the opinions of small-minded people dictate the size of your life. Don't let the opinions of small-minded people dictate the size of your life. Social media is another vampire sucking the marrow out of your potential. You spend 3 hours watching someone else live their life, while your own life sits in the corner gathering dust. You're watching their vacations, their cars, their fake smiles, and you're feeling inadequate. But you're comparing your behind-the-scenes footage to their highlight reel. It's a game you can never win. The only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. If you can focus on being just 1% better every single day, the math of life will take care of the rest. That 1 hour of focused work is where that 1% growth happens. It's where you tune out the noise and tune into the signal of your own purpose. Now, let's get into the growth sequence. This is the mechanical reality of how a human being transforms. It starts with your input. Most of you are feeding your minds garbage and wondering why you feel like trash. You're consuming drama, fear-mongering news, and mindless entertainment. If you want high-quality results, you need high-quality input. During that 1 hour, you must be a student. You have to feed your mind the books, the data, and the skills that your future self requires. Information is the raw material of transformation. But don't get stuck in the trap of endless learning. Some of you have been learning for 3 years and haven't built a single thing. Knowledge without application is just a sophisticated way of wasting time. You have to take what you learn and put it into the fire of reality. You have to test it. You have to break it. You have to make it yours through action. The 1% daily rule is how you avoid burnout. Most people fail because they try to do too much too fast. They go to the gym for 4 hours on Monday, and then they're too sore to move for the rest of the week. They try to write a whole book in a weekend and then never pick up a pen again. That's not how greatness is built. Greatness is built through the accumulation of small wins. 1 hour. That's it. Don't try to do 10. Just do 1. But do it with every fiber of your being. When you apply what you learn in small daily doses, you create a feedback loop. You start to see what works and what doesn't. You start to develop a feel for your craft. This is the stage where you're moving from a novice to a practitioner. It's not about the magnitude of the action. It's about the consistency of the execution. If you can win that 1 hour, you've won the day. Evaluation is the part of the process that most people ignore because it requires honesty. At the end of every week, you need to sit down with yourself and have a hard conversation. You need to look at your results and ask, is what I'm doing actually moving the needle? You can be busy without being productive. You can run 10 miles an hour in the wrong direction and you're still lost. You have to be willing to look at your failures without emotion. A failure is just a data point. It's not a definition of who you are. It's a description of what happened. If you're not evaluating your progress, you're just guessing. You're hoping that things will work out, and hope is not a strategy. The 1% man is a scientist of his own life. He measures his inputs, he tracks his outputs, and he adjusts his course based on reality, not feelings. Once you have the data, you have to be willing to correct. This is where most people get stuck in the pivot versus quit dilemma. Quitting is walking away because things got hard. Pivoting is changing your strategy because the current one isn't working. There is a massive difference. If you hit a wall, a quitter goes home. A winner looks for a ladder, a shovel, or a different route. But you have to be humble enough to admit when your current path is a dead end. Don't fall in love with your first idea. Fall in love with the ultimate goal. If the bridge is out, find another way to cross the river. The 1 hour you spend every day isn't just for working. It's for thinking. It's for strategizing. It's for making sure that your ladder is leaning against the right wall. Correcting your course early saves you years of wasted effort later. Persistence is the final stage of the growth sequence, and it's the most important. This is where the compound effect kicks in. In the beginning, you won't see much progress. You'll work for an hour a day for a month, and your life will look exactly the same. You'll feel like you're shouting into a void. This is the valley of disappointment. This is where 90% of people quit. They think, I've been working hard and nothing is happening, so it must not be working. But they don't understand that success is like heating an ice cube. You heat it from 25 degrees and nothing happens. It's still a solid block of ice. But then you go from 31 degrees to 32 degrees, 1 single degree of difference, guard, and the ice begins to melt. The breakthrough wasn't just that last degree. It was the accumulation of all the work that came before it. You have to persist until you hit your melting point. Let's talk about the difference between discipline and motivation. Motivation is like a spark. It's great to get the fire started, but it won't keep you warm through the night. Discipline is the log you put on the fire. It's the system that keeps the heat going when the sparks have died out. Most people are waiting to feel like working. They wake up, check their mood, and if they feel tired or uninspired, they skip their work. That is the behavior of an amateur. A professional shows up regardless of how he feels. He has a system that overrides his emotions. If your goals are dependent on your mood, you are in serious trouble. Your mood is a liar. It will tell you that you've done enough. It will tell you that you deserve a break. It will tell you that it doesn't matter. You have to build a life that doesn't care about your mood. The foundation of a disciplined life is the morning routine. I'm not talking about a casual wake-up. I'm talking about a 4 o'clock a.m. commitment. Why 4 o'clock a.m.? Because at 4 o'clock a.m., the world's quiet. The emails haven't started. The kids are asleep. The distractions are non-existent. When you wake up before the sun, you gain a psychological edge over the rest of the world. Sat, you've already won. The day before, most people have even hit the snooze button. Your morning routine should be a non-negotiable framework. It's not something you decide to do. It's something you are. It starts with immediate action. Don't touch the phone. Don't check the news. Move your body, hydrate your brain. And then dive straight into your 1 hour of power. Do the hardest, most important task first. Eat the frog. When you conquer the most difficult thing early, the rest of the day feels like a downhill slide. You need a 90-day sprint system. Most people try to plan their whole lives, and they get overwhelmed by the scale of it. A year is too long to stay focused. A week is too short to see real results. But 90 days, you can do anything for 90 days. Treat every 90-day block as a season of intense focus. Pick one major goal, just one. And for that 1 hour every single day, you pour everything into that goal. No distractions, no side projects, no maybe I should try this instead. By the end of 90 days, you will have 90 hours of focused work on a single objective. That is more than most people give to their dreams in a decade. If you do this 4 times a year, you will become unrecognizable. You will have built a momentum that is impossible to stop. But it starts with a decision to commit to the first 90 days without looking back. Strategic patience is a concept that the modern world has forgotten. We live in an age of instant gratification. We want the food in 3 minutes, the package in 1 day, and the wealth in 1 month. But greatness takes time. You have to understand the seasons of your life. Right now, you might be in a winter season. Everything feels cold, dark, and dead. But winter is not a time of death. It's a time of roots. Beneath the frozen ground, the seeds are preparing for spring. If you try to force a harvest in the middle of winter, you'll end up with nothing but dirt. You have to be willing to plant the seeds and wait. Delayed gratification is the ultimate superpower of the 1%. While everyone else is eating their seeds because they're hungry today, you are planting yours so you can have an orchard tomorrow. Trust the timeline of your work. Think about the 3-month foundation. For the first 90 days, you won't see any visible change in your external reality. Your bank account won't look different. Your body might not look different. Your status won't change. This is the foundation building phase. It's like building a skyscraper. The first several months are spent digging a giant hole in the ground and pouring concrete. To the casual observer, it looks like no progress is being made. In fact, it looks like you're going backward. But without that deep foundation, the building will collapse when it reaches for the clouds. Don't be discouraged by the hole you're digging right now. You're creating the stability required to hold the weight of your future success. If you can survive the first 3 months of silence, you are ahead of 90% of the population. After 6 months of consistent work, you will start to see visible change. This is when people start to notice. They'll ask you what you've been doing. They'll tell you that you look different. They'll start to see the results of that 1 hour a day. This is a dangerous time. This is when many people start to get complacent. They see a little bit of success and they think they've arrived. They start to relax. They start to skip their daily hour. They start to believe their own hype. Let me tell you something. The moment you think you've made it is the moment you start losing it. Success is never owned, it's leased, and rent is due every second. The daily change of the world is just a hint of what is possible. It's not the finish line. It's the signal that the race has finally begun. Keep your head down and keep grinding. By the time you hit 12 months of consistent action, you are no longer the person who started this journey. This is the transformation phase. A year of 1 hour a day is 365 hours of concentrated effort. That is the equivalent of 9 full work weeks dedicated solely to your personal evolution. In a year, you can learn a new language, you can master the basics of a complex skill, or you can build the skeleton of a business that replaces your income. Transformation is not just about what you have, it's about who you have become. You have rewired your brain. You have built new neural pathways. You have developed the habit of winning. When you reach this stage, you don't have to force yourself to work anymore. The work has become part of your identity. You are now a person who produces, and that shift in identity is more valuable than any amount of money in the bank. Let's talk about the measurement systems you need to stay on track. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it. You need an honest self-assessment protocol. Most people are experts at lying to themselves. They say they work for an hour, but 40 minutes of that time was spent checking emails or getting a snack. You need to be brutal with your data. Use a timer. Use a journal. At the end of each session, rate your focus on a scale of 1 to 10. If it was a 3, don't beat yourself up, but don't pretend it was a 10 either. This is the mirror test. Can you look at your reflection at the end of the day and say, I did what I said I was going to do? If the answer is no, you have to find out why. Was it a lack of willpower or was it a lack of planning? Refinement is a constant process. You are the architect and you are also the building. You have to be willing to look at the blueprints and admit where the design is flawed. Course correction is a protocol, not an emotional reaction. When things go wrong, and they will, don't throw away the whole system. If you get a flat tire, you don't slash the other 3 tires. You fix the one that's broken and keep driving. If you miss your 1 hour block today, don't let it turn into a week of failure. There is a rule I want you to live by: never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. The moment you fail, your only job is to get back on track as quickly as possible. Don't waste energy on guilt. Guilt is a useless emotion that drains the energy you need for correction. Instead, ask yourself what the lead measure was that caused the slip. Maybe you stayed up too late. Maybe you didn't set out your materials the night before. Fix the lead measure and the result will follow. You are in a constant state of refinement. This brings us to the concept of momentum and the flywheel effect. Imagine a massive heavy metal flywheel. It's 20 feet wide and weighs 10 tons. Your job is to get it spinning. You push with all your might and it doesn't move an inch. You push for an hour and it finally moves a fraction of a centimeter. You keep pushing day after day, hour after hour. It starts to turn. It's slow, it's painful, and it requires immense effort. But then something happens. The weight of the wheel starts to work in your favor. The momentum begins to build. Eventually, the wheel is spinning so fast that its own weight carries it forward. You're barely touching it now, but it's moving with incredible power. That is what 1 hour a day does for your life. The first 90 days are the hard push. The first year is the slow turn, but eventually you reach a breakthrough where your results grow exponentially compared to your effort. This is the power of compounding. The formula is simple, but the execution is rare. 1 to the power of 365 equals 37.78. That means if you get just 1% better every day for a year, you end up nearly 38 times better than when you started. Most people look for the big 10x move. They want the one big play that changes everything. But the 1% understands that the big play is a result of the small gains. When you focus on the compounding of your skills and your character, you eventually hit a plateau. Don't fear the plateau. A plateau is just your body and mind integrating the new level of performance. It feels like nothing is happening, but underneath the surface, you are stabilizing. If you keep pushing during the plateau, you will eventually experience a vertical jump in your results. Let me tell you something about breaking through those plateaus. It requires a shift in your mental frequency. You have to stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying and start seeing yourself as someone who is doing. There is no try. There is only the work. When you hit a wall, it's a sign that your current level of thinking has reached its music limit. To get to the next level, you have to upgrade your internal software. You have to ask bigger questions. Instead of asking, how can I get through this hour? Ask, how can I make this hour the most productive 60 minutes of my entire year? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. When momentum starts building, you'll feel a sense of flow. Tasks that used to be hard become easy. Decisions that used to be stressful become clear. This is the reward for the months you spent in the dark. Now, we are entering the final stage, making breakthrough a lifestyle. This is where we move from a goal-oriented mindset to a growth-oriented mindset. A goal has an end date. Growth is infinite. Once you reach your initial goal, don't stop. Most people win a small victory and then they retire mentally. They get the house or the car or the promotion and they stop doing the things that got them there. That is a trap. The 1% man knows that the summit of one mountain is just the bottom of the next one. He doesn't work to reach a destination. He works because he loves the man he becomes while he's working. This is about emotional elevation. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Imagine the strength in your hands, the clarity in your eyes, and the peace in your heart. That man exists. He is waiting for you at the end of this road. But he can only exist if you do the work today. Listen to me carefully as we close this conversation. You have 2 paths in front of you right now. One path is the path of least resistance. It's the path you've been on. It's comfortable. It's familiar. And it leads to a place called regret. On that path, you will look back at your life and realize you traded your greatness for comfort. You traded your potential for entertainment. The other path is the path of the 1%. It's steep, it's rocky, and it's lonely, but it leads to a place called pride. Not the arrogant kind of pride, but the quiet, deep satisfaction of a man who knows he didn't leave anything on the table. He knows he used every ounce of talent he was given. He knows he stood his ground when the world told him to sit down. That path starts with 60 minutes. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, today. Your future self is watching you right now. He's rooting for you. He's begging you to make the right choice. He's pleading with you to put down the distractions and pick up the tools of your craft. Don't let him down. You have the power to change your entire lineage with the choices you make in the next hour. You have the power to break the cycles of poverty or mediocrity or addiction that have plagued your family for generations. It doesn't take a miracle. It takes a clock and a commitment. 1 hour a day. That is the price of admission to music, the life you were meant to live. Are you willing to pay it? Or are you going to keep making excuses while the clock of your life ticks towards zero? The choice is yours. But remember, nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. Now, get to work. Wait, let me tell you something more. Don't you dare think for a second that this is going to be easy. If it were easy, everyone would be a king. If it were easy, there wouldn't be a 99%. The reason the top is so spacious is because the climb is so brutal. You're going to have days where you hate that 1 hour. You're going to have days where you sit at your desk or stand in the gym and you feel like a fraud. You'll feel like you're just going through the motions. Do it anyway. There is a specific kind of strength that is only forged on the days you don't want to show up. That is the day you actually grow. On the days you feel motivated, you're just riding a wave. But on the days you feel empty and you still put in that 60 minutes, you are building the muscle of the soul. That is the discipline that makes you unstoppable. Think about the legacy you are leaving. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. When you skip your hour, you're voting for the person who gives up. When you push through, you're voting for the person who overcomes. Over time, these votes accumulate. They become your reputation, not with others, but with yourself. And your reputation with yourself is the most important thing you have. If you can't trust your own word, you have nothing. If you tell yourself you're going to work for an hour and then you don't, you've just committed a crime against your own potential. You've told your subconscious that your dreams are negotiable. You've told your spirit that you aren't worth the effort. Stop betraying yourself. Start being a man of your word. If you say 1 hour, then give the world 60 minutes of fire. This is the focus fortress I talked about. It's not just a physical space, it's a mental state. When you enter that hour, you are entering a sanctuary. Nothing from the outside world can touch you. The bills can wait, the drama can wait, the opinions of others can wait. In this hour, you are the master of your universe. You are the creator of your destiny. Most men live lives of quiet desperation, reacting to everything around them. They are like dry leaves blown by the wind, but a man with a daily hour of focus is like a mountain. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, but the mountain remains. He has an internal anchor. He knows who he is because he proves it to himself every single morning. He doesn't need external validation because he has internal evidence. Gadi, of his own worth. Let's look at the winter principle one more time. Many of you are in a winter right now. You're working hard, but you don't see any green shoots. You don't see any flowers. You feel like you're wasting your time. But I'm telling you, the winter is when the foundation of the harvest is laid. If you stop watering the ground in winter because you don't see a plant, you'll never see the spring. You have to have the faith to work in the dark. You have to have the grit to believe in what you can't see yet. Success is a lagging indicator. Your current results are the result of your actions 6 months ago. Your actions today will determine your results 6 months from now. If you want a different result in 6 months, you have to change your actions today. There is no other way. I want you to look at your hands. Look at them. These are the tools of your transformation. They are capable of building empires, of writing masterpieces, of lifting weights that others find impossible. But they can also be used to scroll mindlessly through a glass screen. They can be used to hold a remote control while your life passes you by. Your hands are an extension of your will. What are you going to do with them in the next 60 minutes? Are you going to build something that lasts, or are you going to let them remain idle while your dreams wither away? The tragedy of life is not that it ends so soon, but that we wait so long to begin it. Stop waiting. The perfect time is a myth designed to keep you paralyzed. The only time you have is now. The only place you have is here. Continue exactly from last sentence. The only time you have is now. The only place you have is here. Let me tell you something about the 1% law that nobody discusses in the shiny magazines. It is the law of the lonely hour. When you decide to dedicate 60 minutes of your day to a specific craft or a specific goal, you are essentially declaring war on your old self. You are telling your history that it no longer has a hold on your future. Most people are governed by their memories. They wake up and they think about yesterday's failures, yesterday's arguments, and yesterday's limitations. But when you step into that focused hour, you are no longer a creature of memory. You become a creature of vision. Ga, you are operating from a future that has not happened yet. This is the secret to true change. You have to act like the man you want to become long before you see any evidence that you are that man. Listen to me carefully, because this is where the 99% fall off the wagon. They want to see it before they believe it. They want the bank account to grow before they work harder. They want the muscles to show before they lift the weights. But life doesn't work that way. Life requires a down payment of faith and sweat. You have to believe it so deeply that you can taste it. And then you have to work for it, like your life depends on it, because it does. Your quality of life, your mental health, and your self-respect are all tied to your ability to follow through on your own intentions. Every time you finish that 1 hour of work, you are depositing a coin into the bank of self-confidence. Over time, that account grows so large that you start to walk differently. You start to talk differently. You carry yourself with the quiet authority of a man who knows he is in control of his own soul. This is what I call the focus fortress mindset. It's about building a wall between your purpose and the distractions of the world. You have to understand that your attention is being auctioned off to the highest bidder every single minute of the day. Every app on your phone, every news headline, and every social media notification is a sophisticated trap designed to keep you from your greatness. They want you reactive. They want you jumping at every chime and every buzz. But when you are in your hour of power, you are unreachable. You are in a different dimension. You are doing the deep work that moves the world. Deep work is becoming a rare commodity in our society. Because it is rare, it is incredibly valuable. If you can develop the ability to concentrate for 60 minutes without looking at a screen or talking to a person, you have a massive competitive advantage over almost everyone else. While they are chasing the next trend, you are mastering the fundamentals. While they are looking for the next get-rich-quick scheme, you are building a foundation that can't be shaken. Let me tell you a story about a young man I knew. He wanted to be a writer, but he had a full-time job, a family, and no extra time. He didn't make excuses. He didn't wait for a sabbatical. He decided to wake up 1 hour earlier than everyone else in his house. Every morning at 5 o'clock a.m., he sat at his kitchen table and wrote. For months, it looked like nothing was happening. He was tired. He was frustrated. His friends told him he was wasting his time. But after a year of those 60-minute sessions, he had a completed manuscript. 2 years later, that manuscript was a published book. 5 years later, he was no longer working that job. That is the power of the cumulative hour. It's not about the intensity of a single day. It's about the consistency of 1,000 days. Let's talk about the energy vampires again. But this time, let's talk about the ones inside your own head. You have a voice in there that acts as a survival mechanism. Its job is to keep you safe, which means keeping you comfortable. It tells you that you've done enough. It tells you that it's okay to take a day off because you've had a stressful week. It tells you that you're not talented enough to reach the top. So, why even try? You have to learn to recognize that voice and label it for what it is, the resistance. The resistance is an actual force that appears whenever a human being attempts to move from a lower state to a higher state. It's like friction. If you're not moving, you don't feel it. But the moment you try to accelerate, it pushes back. Don't be surprised by the resistance. Expect it, welcome it, because the presence of the resistance is proof that you are growing. If it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. You have to develop a non-negotiable framework for your life. Think of your 1 hour commitment as a legal contract you have signed with your future self. If you broke a contract with a business partner, there would be consequences. There would be lawsuits, loss of reputation, and financial music pain. Why do you think you can break a contract with yourself and not suffer the consequences? The consequences are internal. You lose your drive. You lose your edge. You start to see yourself as a person who doesn't follow through. This is why the morning routine is so vital. When you wake up at 4 o'clock a.m. or 5 o'clock a.m. and you jump straight into your work, you are winning the most important battle of the day. You are defeating the resistance before it has a chance to wake up. You are setting the tone for the next 16 hours. You are telling the world that you are the captain of your ship, not a passenger. Nobody is coming to save you from your own mediocrity. The government isn't going to pass a law that makes you successful. Your boss isn't going to give you a promotion just because you're a nice person. The universe doesn't owe you anything. The only thing you are entitled to is the opportunity to work. Everything else must be earned. Look at the people you admire. Look at the men who have built legacies. They didn't get there by being lucky. They got there by being obsessed. They got there by protecting their time with a ferocity that borders on madness. They understood that time is the only resource we can't get back. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose a job and find another. But once a minute is gone, it is gone forever. How many minutes have you wasted in the last week? How many hours have you flushed down the drain of mindless entertainment? Stop the bleeding. Reclaim your time. This is the 90-day sprint system in action. I want you to pick one thing, not 5 things, one thing. For the next 3 months, that one thing is your obsession. During your 1 hour of daily focus, you don't think about anything else. If you're learning to code, you code. If you're building a business, you build. If you're writing, you write. Most people fail because they try to chase 2 rabbits at once and end up catching neither. You have to be willing to be narrow-minded for a season. You have to be willing to let other things slide so that this one thing can soar. This is strategic sacrifice. You're not saying no to your other dreams forever. You're saying not now, so that you can give your full power to the task at hand. When you focus your energy like a laser, you can cut through steel. When you spread it out like a light bulb, you can barely light a room. Let's discuss the mirror test again, because this is the foundation of your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is not based on what other people think of you. It's based on your own opinion of your character. At the end of the day, when you're brushing your teeth and looking at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see a man who gave his best, or do you see a man who made excuses? You can lie to your boss. You can lie to your wife. You can lie to your followers on social